This is an important video. I just want to talk a bit about why diagnosis is much more complex than a checklist. Something I see a lot lately is people worrying that they have something because they relate to some symptoms or because they scored high on an online test. And that concern makes sense because many psychological symptoms are very human experiences. But here's the part that gets missed. Having some symptoms of something doesn't necessarily mean that you have that condition or that you exist on one end of a spectrum or another. There is a huge amount of overlap in mental health. So, difficulty concentrating, for example, could show up in ADHD or depression or anxiety or burnout or trauma or sleep deprivation or chronic stress. And low motivation could look like depression or exhaustion or grief or an unsupportive environment, right? Our backgrounds matter, the environments we grew up in, what our nervous system has had to deal with over time, the demands that we are under now. That's why assessment is not just about what you endorse on a questionnaire, it's also about why those symptoms are there, how they show up, when they started, and what else might be influencing them. Even good, validated tests can be skewed by context, stress, sleep deprivation, cultural expectations, recent trauma, or current life pressures. A score doesn't exist in a vacuum. A diagnosis is not a label that you can earn by scoring high enough. It's a clinical judgment that comes from training, pattern recognition, and careful interpretation, not just ticking boxes. Someone's life looking put together does not mean that they can't be struggling with a mental illness. High functioning does not equal well being. And this is why assessments have to be conducted and interpreted by someone who is appropriately trained and experienced. Not because professionals know everything, but because they're trained to see overlap, nuance, and context. If you're trying to understand yourself, that curiosity is valid. Just remember that mental health is complex and clarity comes from careful assessment, not quick conclusions. Understanding takes time, and that's not a flaw in the process, it's what protects people from being misunderstood.